In this video, we've got an absolute value equation and we want to solve for x. So the very first thing that we want to do is get the absolute value expression by itself first. So I want to basically just, oops, I don't want to do that. I want to basically just isolate this right here. We need to get that by itself. If that confuses you, you could treat that kind of like 8 plus 6x equals 20. So we isolate when we solve for x in this situation, so you want to do the same thing over here. So the first thing that we have to do is subtract out this 8 to get rid of it, which means we have to subtract it out from that side as well. Now we're left with 6 times the absolute value of 6 plus 8x, and then that will equal 20 minus 8 is 12. Keep solving this. We want to get the absolute value stuff by itself. So undo the multiplication of 6 by dividing by 6, which means we divide that side by 6. 6 over 6 is just 1, so it cancels out. And we're left with the absolute value of 6 plus 8x. And then 12 divided by 6 is 2. Now this is what we wanted. We got the absolute value section by itself. It's isolated. So now we have two different versions that we could set up. We have a positive version because 6 plus 8x could equal a positive 2. And then we also have 6 plus 8x that could equal a negative 2. Remember, because inside the absolute value, say if we had absolute value of negative 2, that would become 2. Even if we had a positive 2, that will become 2, or well, actually it'll stay 2. So we have to take into account for this negative version and then this positive version. So let's rewrite 6 plus 8x, and then that will be equal to positive 2, so that will be the positive version. And then we write 6 plus 8x again, but that's going to be equal to negative 2, and that's representing my negative version. And we just solve this like normal. We want to subtract everything by 6, so that leaves us with 8x equaling 2 minus 6 is negative 4, and then we want to divide out the multiplication of 8, so divide out 8 over here. So then x will be equal to negative 4 divided by 8. That reduces to be negative 1/2. So that's one solution. And then if we want to solve this one over here on the right side, the negative version, we do the same stuff. So we subtract both sides by 6. That cancels out. We're left with 8x equaling negative 2 minus 6 would be a negative 8. And then divide out this 8. That cancels out. Divide the right side by 8. And then x will equal negative 8 over 8 is just negative 1. So these are solutions. We could write these in brackets if we want, just to represent our solution set. And that's that. So just to kind of recap what we did, I'll move this up a little bit. We had to isolate the absolute value part right here. Once it was isolated right here, then we do our positive version and our negative version. And it's important to remember to get rid of the absolute value bars when we write this version and this version, because we just want to work with the value of the expression 6 plus 8x, the part that's in the absolute value bars. Alright. So let's now try another problem. Okay, it's going to be this right here. We've got a fraction, but we solve this the same way as our other problem. Okay, first we want to undo the division of 8, so I'm going to multiply this whole side by 8. Okay, because then 8 up here will cancel out with this 8 down there, and then that means I also have to multiply this right side by 8. So now we've got the absolute value of 7x plus 3, and that will equal 4 times 8 is 32. And already we have the absolute value expression isolated by itself. So now we can do both of our versions. So we could take 7x plus 3 and set it equal to a positive 32, and then we take 7x plus 3 and set that equal to a negative 32. Okay, and let's just work on solving this. So I subtract 3 from both sides over here, that cancels. I'm left with 7x equaling 32 minus 3 is going to be a 29, and then I undo multiplication here by dividing 7. Those cancel out, and then this side gets divided by 7, which gives the final answer of x equaling 29 over 7. And there's no way that 29 over 7 can reduce, so we leave it like that. And now over here, let's finish up with our negative version. So subtract out this 3, which means we subtracted from over there. These cancel. I'm left with 7x equaling negative 32 minus 3 will be a negative 35. And then undo the multiplication of 7. So I divide by 7, and that will give us a final answer of x, which equals a negative 5. Okay, I'll write my solution set like this. And there's my final answer right there. Okay, so again, another recap. Just isolate the absolute value expression. Once it's isolated, for example, right here, that's when you do both versions. You do a positive version and then a negative version, like right here. And that's that.